Hi everybody, my name's Gray
I'm Becky.
and we're a part of Equity New Zealand, which supports actors in the profession of the performing arts on stage and screen. Today we're going to talk about something that has been coming up more and more in our industry, and I was introduced to this term only a couple of days ago, catfishing.
Catfishing.
Which is apparently not when cats fish.
No.
Yes.
My understanding of catfishing is someone online pretending to be someone else tricks you into doing whatever it is that they need you to do.
It's someone that sets up an online profile that is false and is using false information to either exploit people. Yeah,
Something. They want something.
basically.
Yeah.
This has been coming up in casting, and particularly when casting is being used through online mediums and social media, right? Where we have in our industry, I think it's fair to say, we have a lot of young people who are coming in younger and younger into the industry and are desperate to be a part of whatever is going on and want to audition, they want to be a part of the industry, they want to act. And more, those young people particularly are being taken advantage of. More and more this year we've seen catfishing has been happening in the industry with young people. Now, one example earlier in the year that was a part of our Equity e-bulletin was a young woman who got in touch with Melissa at Equity asking about a casting that she'd been offered, a flight to the States to partake in a production. Now, she had got an ad out of the newspaper and thought, wow, this is a chance to be famous. She got in touch with the creators and sent some photos, and on the strength of that been invited to be flown over to the States for a special audition. Now, mentioned in this message was that there would be sexual training, which rang some alarm bells for this woman, and she contacted Equity, and immediately we were on the case. Obviously, that is never acceptable in a trial audition situation and scenario to be
Sexually trained.
and to be sexually trained.
She did the right thing, getting straight in touch with Melissa.
Yeah, that's right. Advertisements for catfishing, they're happening online a lot more. And there are group pages set up on Facebook, particularly, that have open access for young people to see auditions, to see castings, to apply and try to be a part of the industry, right? And unfortunately, not all of them are above board. The administrators of these Facebook pages, they try to police it as much as they can, but it's hard to know what's legit and what isn't.
Yeah. I've applied for things off social media. You have to be very wary. I haven't ever gotten myself into any trouble, but that's because I know what shouldn't be asked of you. And I think that's the big difference. I know what these sort of guidelines are. But you do see some dodgy things. Yeah.
Now, what are the things that sort of ring the bells and say, oh, yep, this is one that I could audition for?
Contact details. If they don't want to put their email or anything up like that as a cell phone number, that's problem number one, because that's telling me that they want to stay anonymous. No info about the character or the storyline. Big problem. We're actors. That's what we do. We're characters. We're storytellers. So if you're not going to tell me what my job is, then I don't know whether I can do my job or not. Little tiny bits of information, but not enough. That'll make me go straight away, well, you're not respecting me, so I'm not going to respect you.
Now, one of the things I always look for is the parameters of the production or the producers.
Yeah.
Is this a company that has a presence, particularly an online presence that can be researched? Is the filmmaker one that has an online presence that can be researched? If you Google a name, will it only come up with a Facebook profile that you see that's posted the message, right? That's one that and sometimes some creators have less presence than others, and particularly student creators, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And we get a lot of postings for auditions for student work, and those are valid.
But you just got to tell us what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You just state that.
Exactly.
State who you are, what you're doing.
Because there are more and more, I see these Facebook group pages, there are hundreds of people that are members, and young ones who don't have agents, who have no screen experience, who are coming through, who really want to get that experience. And so it's really hard to know what to look for in this online social media casting scenario. But there are standards and practices for auditions, any kind of auditions for screen. Now, we have at Equity New Zealand worked with the Agents Association of New Zealand and also with the top casting directors in New Zealand to create guidelines for casting in New Zealand. Now, these casting guidelines have existed for years, and most recently, we've sat down in the last 12 months, we've revised them, we've made it a lot harder for actors to take advantage of casting and for casting to take advantage of actors in the audition scenario. One of those things is about sexual content and nudity in auditions, and you should never, ever, ever be asked to do anything remotely like nudity or sexual simulation in a first audition particularly. And then from there, in callback scenarios, there are chaperone situations and a broad spectrum of information that has to go back and forth between casting, producers, agents, and the actors before any kind of scenario in an audition situation is entertained. Now, all of that information is available and downloadable from Equity New Zealand's website, and there will be a link in the description below for you guys to be able to link to that casting guidelines document so you can see exactly what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable in casting in New Zealand. Now, we advise not only actors look at this, but also if you're new to casting your films, student directors and producers and independent filmmakers should be looking at this document too and using those guidelines in their casting practices.
100%.
Yeah.
You need to understand what auditioning is, what's yes and what's no, and what you as an actor are allowed to say no to. And I think it's just about familiarizing yourself with what an audition is and what is expected of you. And if they are going to say, for example, we'll fly you to LA, that's warning bell number one. That's never, ever, ever going to happen. That's not, So I think a comprehension of what your job as an actor auditioning is, to become familiar with that.
Some of these catfishing scenarios can be very complex and intense, and people who are doing this can sound very legit on the surface, or have very specific reasons for not sharing their information. But what are the alarm bells we should be looking for, when they ask for particular types of photos? Photos of you either nude or wearing lingerie or bikinis.
Women are encouraged to be sexual and to there's always this kind of stigma that as a female actor, if you're not going to be free with your body and if you're not going to get into a bikini and that kind of thing, then you can't be very serious about your career. That's not true. It's completely inappropriate for you ever to be expected to do that initially, and if you don't want to do it, don't feel pressured to do it. And when you're young and you're new to it and you just want to get involved, you should say no if you're not okay with it. And I think that's something that people need to feel more confident. I mean, actors across the board, not just females with regards to nudity, but actors need to feel more empowered to say no or to ask more questions and ask for more guidelines or more parameters.
In large-scale productions, generally, and casting for large-scale productions, we're dealing with professionals who are using these guidelines, who are providing the information, and you have a support network as an actor that you can rely on to support you if you don't feel comfortable or if you need clarification on this information, right? So Equity New Zealand is one that is able to provide that support for actors who need more information about what they're getting themselves into. And all of the contact information for Equity New Zealand will be provided in the description below, and also is on the Equity New Zealand website. Just Google that and you'll be able to find it and get in touch with Equity. We look after acting as an industry, and so the guidelines, for example, for casting that were ratified last year, they are for casting across the board for all actors. And the same can be said of all of the support networks that are in place for Equity New Zealand and its initiatives. I kind of feel like in the professional industry in casting, things are getting better, right? Yeah. But that's also leading to a bigger divide. Do you think that's
Definitely.
the case? Yeah?
Definitely.
So at the higher end, we actually have more professionalism, we have more industry, we've got more work as well. But then at the entrance end, industry entrance end, we have a lot more Wild West happening. And a part of that is to do with the social networking.
There are also guidelines that you can have a look at on the Equity website regarding what you can, what you won't be expected to do on screen with regards to nudity and sex, similar to the casting guidelines, but with regards to actually having the role. And it's very important that you know what you're getting yourself into, and that's kind of going to roll over a little bit to when you're having your audition, because they'll say this role involves this and that and everything else, and you can decide at that point whether you'd like to go forward or not. There
is a download section on the Equity website which has all of these guidelines available, and if you're having trouble, again, you can call the office and they'll help guide you through it and be able to email you copies too. A lot of you out here that are watching this video will be actors in the industry who have an understanding of this. You understand the process of casting, you understand your rights and what will be expected of you and what you can say no to on the audition floor or during the whole casting process leading up to an audition. But you'll also know some of our newcomers, our young actors who are coming through, who are inexperienced in this process and less confident, right? So please share this video with them. Spread the word and spread the information that's available out there for people so that we don't have our young people being exploited by these catfishers online and through our social media outlets. We don't want to censor people's access to information about auditions and about castings, but we do want to educate you about your rights and responsibilities and keeping safe through this process.
There's an industry out there that is designed to make money and to exploit actors, and I think that we need to band together and be more empowered to say no and yes, and to say I will within these parameters, and it's actually up to us to do that. And the more that we kind of roll over and say I guess I should do it, the longer it's going to happen, the longer the catfish people will be around.
Standing up for your rights as an actor,
be confident.
It's better for the industry. It's better for you, and you will have more respect.
That's it, respect.
More respect for yourself and more respect amongst your industry peers. So I guess that's us. I hope you've watched through to the end. Again, check out the links in the description below for the downloads that relate to this video. And we may bring you more in the future. We'd love to hear your comments, so please do leave comments in the comments section down below. And if you don't know too much about Equity New Zealand, then find out. Go to the website and call us in the office, and we're available, even if you're not a member, someone from Equity, one of our mentors, one of our board members, one of our Performing Arts Committee members, one of our
Advocates for Inclusion members
will be able to help support you in whatever your inquiry is, okay? So thanks, and stay activated.